Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector, and we'll get started on our next multiplayer matchup. I am playing our fourth tournament, and we're playing as the Tyranids and the Chaos Demons, so we'll do some matchups. We're playing the Scrapyard. It's a 1,500 point, 60 point target with a turn limit with a strategic command objective. So I think I'm got some builds that I think are reasonably good for the 60 point matches. Now that I kind of have an understanding of the strategy behind it, you definitely have to build your forces much different than you would with an 80 point target. But I'm going with my dual primes, 4 warriors, 4 venomthropes. I have 2 termagants, and I have 2 gargoyles. The whole point of this is I didn't want to do too much swarm tactics because the Necrons can end up doing a lot of living lightning, and what that weapon does is allows it to do splash damage, and that will effectively just liquefy any of your units that are around there. And so hopefully by using these termagants here, I can then burrow and get into melee to really mess up the Necrons, because if they do a heavy living lightning build, the living lightning needs quite a bit of distance in order to be accurate with their weapons, and so it really doesn't have much for armor piercing, so that is the trade-off when you're doing a build like that. So if I can get these termagants down there, they should be able to lock guys down. They can use their electroshock ability and do splash, but we'll see what we can do. So I've got high hopes here, and then he's got the scarabs moving around, so that gives him a lot of distance to cover. And they can be kind of a pain in the butt to kill too, because they have so many models in there, so you tend to overkill quite a bit with them. So we'll move these guys over here to just kind of keep them in a little bit of cover. Yep, see, there they are right there. And then if I put you over here, this should allow you to get some reaction fire if they tried to come up here. And we'll move the warriors up the side here too, because between the gargoyles and the warriors, he should not be able to capture that point. Now, question is how aggressively do I want to advance up here? Because I don't want to be stuck in the middle here and getting shot apart. And my guys are pretty far behind. So maybe we just kind of keep you back here and set up some reaction fire, and because I'm behind cover here, this should keep you safe. Can move you up to here. That should work. And again, I don't want to overextend so he shoots me apart here. Not really seeing his units though, which is what's kind of confusing me. Maybe we keep you on this side of the wall, and then I can burrow to back to the center if I need to. Yeah, where the hell are all of his units? Can't see anybody yet. Now the thing on this map that's not always obvious is if you put your guy over here, that's considered heavy cover. So this will allow me to get good sight, potentially counter-engage to move around that area to clean any guys off of the center, and I shouldn't be shot because it's heavy cover, so it'll block line of sight and shots from going in on me. So not many people know about that little area here, but that's definitely something that can be a great advantage. And let's say if I brought a Hive Tyrant with me, then I could be sitting there, do a little peekaboo shots, and do quite a bit of damage that way. Alternatively, when you have a hover unit, say like the Hive Tyrant, you could do the same thing behind the crane up top there too, and then that can be a real disaster when you're having to fight back right here on that left side, because then they can't counterattack you until you get guys up there, because especially if you're fighting a heavy ranged unit, ranged army, then you got to get them all the way up there. So that can definitely be a nightmare. Say if you're playing as a Tau, that's going to be a lot of damage that you're going to be taking, and then they don't have the ability to heal poison either, so... So there's definitely some shenanigans that you can do, especially if you're on this side of the map, so... And I think we just want to pull these guys back. Well, maybe I can just body block, actually. And then we can set up a couple of reaction fires here. We'll move you up, because I haven't really seen anybody yet. Alright, so... he's using the heavy destroyers, and he's got the infantry loadout. He's got some scarabs moving around here. Now these guys will not be able to kill all of them. So he'll be able to take that. He's got warriors. Oh, I wonder if he has a warrior build. No, he's got some immortals with living lightning there. He's got his annihilation barge. Because the one thing with you do a warrior build is, unless you're having them around your overlord, they're not going to have much movement. So they're actually not usually a good idea to bring on a strategic point map, especially if you're doing one with a 60-point target, because you got to cover as much distance as quickly as you can. Now he's got the Hexmark assassins there, so those guys could be good. Especially at my Venomthropes here, because they have an ability that gives them 100% accuracy, so that'll completely nullify my evasion. Alright, so let's move you up here. Let's do this, because I don't know if he has guys hiding around the corner here that are going to be shooting into me. He does not. Alright, this is very strange. What the hell are all of his forces? Well, I guess let's move you over here. Actually, if I move you up to here, I think I can burrow strike and then do a Bioshock there. Now, I can Bioshock 3 units if I go in the center, but then I can't lock anybody down, and I assume he must have units behind me. So let's just come here. Yeah, see his overlords there. So we'll just Bioshock here. That'll damage these guys. It says it does pure damage, but it seems to be reduced by armor. I always thought psychic damage and these abilities weren't reduced by armor, but that does not seem to be the case. So I don't know if it's just coded weird, or that's actually how it's set up to be. Because I always thought that was the whole point of why they do lesser damage. Alright, so I can move you up. Oh, he's actually got multiple assassins. Yeah, that's going to be a big issue, because not only do they have an ability that allows them to get 100% accuracy, but they can then spread their attacks up to 3 different units. And so that would easily allow him to kill my Venomthrope and my warriors over here. So this could be definitely an issue. But if I can... Oh, I thought that was going to stop him from shooting there. I guess that's only partial cover and not full. Alright, well if I move you up to here, you should be able to kill these warriors, and 2 of them have already resurrected, so that should stop him from staying alive here. So this should squad wipe those guys. Yep, sure did. And then we'll pull you back to here and have you start working on these scarabs. Now, one thing that Slytherin did change with the Scarabs is that when they first came out, and for quite a while, the Scarabs had the ability to resurrect too, up to I forget how many models it was per squad, but that was just way too powerful because it just made them so hard to kill, because it was guaranteeing that you were having to spend multiple attacks on them every turn to guarantee the kill. And for the price point, the fact that they do crazy amounts of damage, if you use them as rear attacks, the amount of movement they have, the hovering, they were just way too powerful for their point value. So their nerf to take away that resurrection ability with them was definitely a very good idea. So I greatly support that. Now the big thing with the Necrons too is their tier 1 ability is summoning 2 Scarabs. So you have to be very careful when you're playing these strategic command matches against them, because they can, if you don't have guys behind a body block, they're just going to be summoning Scarabs behind you and capturing your points, and that can be an absolute nightmare against a 60-point, or in a 60-point game, I should say, not against. I would like to drop these Scarabs down. Can I get close enough to do that, though? It looks like I can. Alright, good. So that's another Scarab down. Now I've got this guy here. I think I want to move you along this wall here. And then you can jump the following turn. Interesting that he went with the Staff of Light. I'm not quite sure why he would have done that. So he went with a ranged build for his Overlord. The Overlord can do some melee damage with the Staff of Light, but it's not very good. Put you behind here to get you into cover. Yeah, I've got to keep these guys back far enough that the assassins can't do their 3-way attack and wipe out all 3 of those units. In fact, maybe I want to actually put the Termagon here, Trigon I think it is, to encourage some attacks from some of these other units here, and maybe lock them down. Yeah, I think that actually may be the way to go here. Because what I don't want is for him to take out my Venomthrope and 2 warriors down here with those hex marks. Because I think if he uses both those abilities with both of them, that should almost wipe out those squads. I don't know if he's going to be able to drop Scarabs this far over or not, so I guess we'll just do something like that while we're waiting and kind of see where the chips fall. It's like I'd like to get you up here to be able to lock things down into melee, but I also don't want them so close together that they're just going to get killed by those assassins. But I do need to advance these guys further, or else they're not going to be able to do anything. So what I'm hoping is that he's going to start running guys down this way, and then my Prime can get in there and start doing some damage too. Yeah, so he shot way too close there. He should have pulled back and then shot into those guys. Those guys are locked down, so that's why I didn't move them. Alright, so he's doing the 100% chance to hit attack there, it looks like. Now, the thing to realize about those scarabs is had he moved them around the back there, he could have broke the engagement. Yeah, see, he's using the 100% attacks to kill these guys. Yeah, so... yeah, and here. So there you go. He dropped one of them. The Annihilation Barge is shooting, but again, with that ranged armor, they should be able to tank it. Yeah, so that was kind of bad way of doing it, because had he used those scarabs on there first, it would have broke the engagement, and then he could have pulled back with those immortals more, and then he could have definitely got the kill a lot easier. I guess let's just move you guys down here to start working on those scarabs, speaking of which. Try to get your bonus damage. I would definitely like to take out those hex marks, but now that they've gotten rid of their 100% accuracy, I don't know if it's quite as essential anymore. I can't quite get you into melee range, unfortunately. I do have a 100% chance to hit here. That would be, what, 75? Honestly, I think I should just maybe kill these guys. You should be able to kill some models. Alright. They're back up again. Alright, good. Now I could squad wipe them. Or I can just run you over here, and now you can body block that. Alright. And what do I want to damage is the question. I kind of hate to overkill these other guys here. I can run you over here and that'll melee. Actually, if I run you up to here, I can then shoot one of these guys. We'll take out the scarabs. Okay, good. And now you can attack this guy. Alright, nice. Big damage there. Let's run you up here. And you can start killing these immortals. I think it's going to take all of his attacks to get the squad wipe here. Yeah, he resurrected. Shit, he's getting up, so you couldn't even kill him. Alright, I can run you up here. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move you up. Let you attack here. This should get the kill. Hopefully. There we go. Alright, you got the kill here. Let's move you to here. You can shoot here and get 100% accuracy. Good. And then you guys can come up here and melee this guy. Good. And then you can attack here, and this should give me the kill. I don't think you're going to be able to do it. Damn it. You're short by 12 damage. Alright, let's do that to get you a little bit of... Alright, well, I could run you over here, but I'm not sure that's a guaranteed hit, so let's just focus these guys down. And I'll put you back over here, because I think there's a really good chance. Well, let's just run you up here, and then we should be able to melee them. In fact, I probably shouldn't have attacked with those gargoyles, because now they're going to get back up, aren't they? Yep. See, I could have just killed them with the gargoyle now, and then I could have used that last attack on the Locust Heavy Destroyers instead. Oh, you're just short. Alright, let's move you here, and that should be another way to stop them from being able to retreat. These guys should be able to attack the Annihilation Barge if he tries to pull back. Yeah, they're shooting into him. Now, even though he did the ranged build, he's deciding he wants to get into melee with me, which is a bad decision, because that's about how much damage he would have done at range, and instead he's letting me do 50 damage to him. I assume he's going to attack him again. Yep. So he's going to give me another 50 damage to do back at him. Yep. Alright. Oh, here we go. He's going to send an assassin over here to finish him off. Fine. That prime definitely paid off. He's pulling back with that guy. Now he's got to capture another point or else I'm going to win. Alright, we took that out. That's locked down. Yeah, you can't get past these guys because he didn't do enough attacks there. So, that should be victory is ours. Yep, 60 points. Alright, victory. So, good matchup here. Again, I think this force works pretty well, especially against the Necrons. You know, you can use the Venomthropes with their spore clouds to be able to move around, soak up a bunch of Overwatch. Now, interestingly, he actually had a decent force selection to counter my build, but I don't think he quite understood how to use them appropriately. Had he brought those two Hexmark Assassins down on me, and then used their double abilities to get 100% crit and to do the three-way attacks, he would have almost wiped out two of my warriors and a Venomthrope there, and then he would have had enough left over to run down there and taken the middle back, and that would have been a big deal for me. Or for him. And then he went with the anti-infantry version with the heavy Locust Heavy Destroyers. Now they can do good damage, but they have pretty long range, so he didn't have them at the optimal range to be able to shoot me, so that really lowered their damage potential. And had he done the heavy weapon loadout, which doesn't cost significantly more, he would have been able to really easily sniped out warriors and my prime and a lot of these other very high value units, or the Trigon, which allowed me to burrow in there. So again, I rarely think doing the infantry loadout works out well. Perhaps if you're playing against the Tau it would make sense, but again, then you want to take out their ethereals, commanders, ghost keels, other units that are high value, and that other loadout's going to work out way better for you, because they do anywhere from 70 to over 100 damage per shot, and you get two of them, and they have really good accuracy. So I think that's almost always a better option against most factions that you're going to be playing as. Likewise, he allowed me to kind of close the distance on him here and get a lot of kills. Now, I certainly think the Immortals with the Living Lightning, you're going to want at least a couple of them if you're playing against the Tyranids, because had I gone with the Swarm build, those guys definitely would have paid off. Now, I made the assumption that that is what he was going to build out, because that's what most Necron players will assume that you're going to build out, so I tried to use a force selection that was a little bit different from what he would expect. But as you can see, the Living Lightning is still pretty viable against medium-tier infantry, which is what the Warriors and the Venomthropes would qualify as, because you saw it did pretty decent damage to them, and had they been together, it would have done more splash damage. The Annihilation Barge is usually a pretty good option, too. Now, again, he had kind of bad units target selection that he utilized. Again, he was going after my Venomthropes that had evasion bonuses, and then they were also getting evasion bonuses because of the warriors that are around there, so really he should have been focusing down those warriors, which were getting a vast majority of the kills that I was doing here, because I kept triggering their natural killer ability, which increased their melee and gave them a second second action point, which gives them an additional attack, and I was doing really good damage that way. As you can see, the Necrons, their main power is that resurrection ability, but they can only do it 2 models per squad per turn, so once you trigger it, you know that, okay, nothing else is going to be resurrecting, so I want to focus fire that down, because if you keep dragging it out turn after turn, they're going to keep having that ability to potentially repopulate, and then that's going to cause you to waste a lot more attacks. The gargoyles did okay damage. They're good against taking out scarab swarms, but the big thing for them is soaking up overwatch fire, body blocking positions, and then having the increased movement to capture points as fast as possible, because again, at 60-point targets, you need to be capturing points. That needs to be your #1 priority, and then being able to block. And then he had a fairly limited mobility army, and he had his overlord way in the back, but the overlord gives your units, especially with the Necron's, bonus movement, so you need to keep them somewhat closer to your units to make sure you're always maximizing that movement, again, especially on these 60-point targets, because it's speed is the name of the game when it comes to these 60-point targets. And as you saw in my first matchup on the last tournament, where I've never done one of these 60-point matchups, I had a little bit of trouble getting with that kind of gameplay, because I was trying to play it like it was an 80-point target, and those 20 points cause significant differences between the two objectives here, so you definitely have to change things around depending on the mission type that you're doing. Now, the one thing that's also really good about those Venom Throats is when they do that Toxic Presence, if there's a bunch of Scarab Swarms around there, I think that's enough. They can one-shot a group of scarabs with that, because I think it does 10 to 15 damage, and I think each scarab has 10 HP, so they should be able to destroy a scarab swarm army with that Toxic Presence, but don't quote me on that, but I think that would in fact work. And then the Venom Throats, assuming they don't have rear exposed, they should be able to tank a scarab swarm attacks, whereas the gargoyles, I think if 2 different scarabs were attacking them, they would probably get wiped out if they could get the angle appropriate. Now, the one weird thing that he did is he went with a ranged build with the Overlord. That's almost always the wrong build, because the Overlord is a very powerful unit, and then when you have a melee build, he can do good damage with his default loadout, or he'll definitely do good damage if he has the War Scythe ability. And then with him having the teleport ability, you can just teleport behind a unit and then get rear attacks, and that will allow you to almost always do a squad wipe of like some Tyranid warriors, just about wiping them out, and then you can finish them off with your other units. Venom Throats, even if they have the evasion, if you get behind them, you can do some good damage. And then if you do the War Scythe, that has so much splash damage that you can do just regular squad wipes of low tier infantry. So definitely gives you a lot of options. Now, he was smart in that when he did have them a little bit close, he used the evasion ability, which reduces the damage and increases the evasion, so I wouldn't have attacked them anyways, but that guaranteed that wasn't going to be the case. Now, one thing he did do is he kept using his Overlord as an attacker, which is definitely a reasonable thing to do, but you generally want to use him as a summoner, because he's got that Orb of Resurrection, which gives you a free unit every 3 turns, and then he can start summoning scarabs, because for sure he would have had either 1 to 2 command points ready to go, and using those command point abilities would have worked out way better for him than using that lame attack with the staff. And then again, that staff is meant to give you ranged potential, so then by him getting in there and using the ranged staff as a melee weapon, that's meant to be like a use in case of emergency situation, like you're engaged in melee and can't get out of that zone of control, because all it did is allow me to do 100 damage to the Overlord, where he did the same amount of damage in melee as he did had he done ranged attacks. So assuming he made all the attacks, of course, but there was no guarantee he was going to land both of those melee attacks either. So that would be my tips for my opponent here, if the unlikely situation that he ends up watching this video here. And then as you can see with the Tyranids, you can use their burrowing abilities with the Trigons. That can really work out well for you. Using that bioelectro pulse or electroshock, whatever it's called, can definitely weaken down Immortals and warriors or flayed ones, and then you can snap up some easy kills with your warriors to then trigger additional bonus attacks. So that's kind of how you get the synergy going to do a lot of good things for you. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to use a 60-point Tyranid army against the Necrons. Definitely some fun abilities here. And then again, remember that those couple little corners on this map that aren't always obvious as full cover. This game does not do a good job with indicating what's full cover. I wish it kind of gave you a little indicator, say like a game like, oh, what's it called? Dang it, what is that game called? I can't think of it, but you have XCOM 2, like where it has the little indicators there, or even how their Sanctus Reach was. I think the cover system for Sanctus Reach was way superior than what it is in this game, because if you're behind cover, it would give you a little indicator like a half or a full cover. It would tell you what the penalties were going to be when you were shooting every time you were going to shoot, and just made it very visibly obvious what was going on. And the cover you were behind, the first obstacle wouldn't reduce your penalty for shooting out, whereas here it seems to calculate every obstacle as a move or as an accuracy penalty. So if you're behind like a half cover, instead of it being half cover, it automatically starts reducing your accuracy for some reason. So it's just a very bizarre system. But thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe to encourage me to post more content for you. If you're a new player and needing some tips, I have faction guides with my opinions for every unit, and then afterwards I show you some basic compositions that you could use for forces using those units, and also playing it against a AI skirmish map. And with that, I show what every empowered ability does too, so you have an idea of what's going on with those aspects, because sometimes the empowered abilities are incredibly more powerful than what you would imagine that they could be. So and if you're looking for multiplayer matchups, I have a bunch of multiplayer games set up as well. So have a good day, guys.